Welcome back. Perhaps we can find evidence of better times ahead economically at the Port of Los Angeles, which along with the Port of Long Beach represents the busiest port complex in the nation and is responsible for an estimated 1 out of every 9 jobs in Southern California. Gene Seroka is the executive director of the Port of Los Angeles. So, Gene, Happy New Year. So people are buying things still during the pandemic. How has that impacted the port?
Record volumes. The first half of the year, Conan, we saw all-time lows, including the month of March when we really looked into the abyss as just about all of our supply chain was shut down. Second half of the year, volume is up 46% on a monthly basis here at the Port of Los Angeles.
So you guys are busy.
It's a lot of cargo to handle at one time. We're extremely busy, but it's also one-way cargo. This surge in pandemic buying that most of us American consumers are doing are driving most of this volume. Exports have been down here 22 out of the last 24 months at the Port of Los Angeles, mainly on the heels of the trade policy and tensions between the U.S. and China and the strength of the U.S. dollar.
To that degree, there were issues regarding the trade war with China. What are you expecting with the new Biden administration?
That we'll have a seat at the table, similar to what we did during the Obama administration. Many trips to Washington, great relationships were forged, and putting our policy items in front of those decision makers, both elected and appointed, was a good pathway forward for us. We'd like to renew that type of dialogue and make new friends.
So what kind of products are we seeing showing up?
In addition to what we normally see, household appliances. Folks are working from home. They're redoing their kitchens and bathrooms, laundry rooms. We're also seeing athleisure wear and Peloton bikes, where most of us are exercising at home. And then we're also seeing furniture, both indoor and outdoor, as there's a little bit of remodeling going on, maybe freshening up our living rooms, and also setting up our outdoor areas for the physical and social distancing that we require.
We just had Jerry Nicholsburg, an economist, of course, with the UCLA Anderson forecast on just a moment ago, telling us that after an awful winter, we could see an economic surge, sort of like the roaring 20s after the Spanish flu a century ago. Do you believe that?
Yeah, to an extent I do, and I follow what's being done at UCLA very closely. We're spending most of our money today on tangible goods, not services. We're not buying airplane tickets, going to ball games or the movies. That shift will take place. There will be a lot of pent-up demand to get out and about. Business people will be flying again once we have a certain level of comfort around vaccination. So yes, I see that helping us take off. We continue to see strong fundamentals at the corporate level, but we've got to get people back to work, and that's key.
And that would be, of course, a shot in the arm, so to speak, for manufacturing, the transportation sector, certainly the port.
That's correct. Savings accounts have risen for those who have them. Corporate numbers are looking pretty decent at the earnings level, so there will be money to spend on services, pre-positioning assets, the MAX airplane coming back online. But again, trying to have a weave here that really makes sense. With exports being down, remember that the U.S. Department of Labor says that jobs related to the export market, on average, pay 17% more than jobs in other segments. Helping get 10 million Americans who are receiving some sort of assistance from the federal government back on the jobs has to be a priority.
We know that the COVID relief package is extremely important, but the new administration is saying there needs to be more, including money for state and local governments.
We think it's very important. And while our international container business has been strong in the second half of the year, there's been impacts across the board. The cruise business has been shuttered since effectively in March. And for every cruise vessel that calls here at the Port of Los Angeles, it means about $1 million to our local economy. Those restaurants and shops, the local hotels that our visitors stay at. And there are a number of other stories along those lines, too, with the recent orders on restaurants, imperative that we keep money in the pocket so they can spend for those who work at those establishments. We've given our input at the state level and in Washington both.
And while you're here, plenty who live by the port know that pollution is the byproduct of ships and trucks and trains. What programs are underway over the next year that will reduce your CO2 output?
Yeah, many. We're currently running almost 20 demonstration projects on zero and near zero emissions technology at the port complex. And you may remember that the mayors of Long Beach and Los Angeles resolved that in the year 2030 will be a zero emissions port on the ground, and by the year 2035, zero-emissions trucks will move all this cargo in and around the Southland. But we still have a lot of work to do to show the manufacturing community that we can be a customer of choice by creating a wider pattern here beyond just LA and Long Beach and bringing other segments of transportation and ports themselves into this conversation will get us moving in the right direction.
Gene Seroka, the director of the Port of Los Angeles, thanks for taking the time. Hope you have a prosperous and safe 2021.
Thank you, Conan. Always great to see you.